Hi everybody, how y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Doing another follow-up video. Yeah, this has been a kind of a release day actually. Something I came across. Really triggered. I will be the first to admit that. But it was a good trigger. Released a lot. Yeah, and also I took a look at, give me a minute. Yeah, that's not helping much, is it? A little bit, looks like. But anyway, I think I got the camera smudged or something, but anyway, doesn't matter. These are more my personal videos anyway. I don't care if people see it, I divulge what I want to, and that's about it. So anyway, yeah, I also I kept being guided to take a look at my astrocartography chart. In case you don't know what an astrocartography chart is, it's basically the planets with how they were transiting across the planet when you were born. Okay, a couple of different sites will provide ones for you. I recommend astro.com. Okay, just do astrocartography chart, do a Google search for that, and look for the one where you can input your information into astro.com. Okay, if you don't already have an account with them, you can set up an account. You don't have to. You can do things as a guest too. So anyway, I took a look at that. I like to refer back to my birth chart and so forth every once in a while, especially when we have things like this going on. So let's face it, this is a pretty active month astrologically. And that was quite enlightening, looking at that. And also, it explained also the reason why. Well, for one thing, it explained the reason why I am taking this a little bit hard. I knew my Mercury line was close to here. I didn't realize that my Uranus line is right here. And also my Chiron is close by. And these are the main ones, not the harmonious or disharmonious aspects. And that's one of the reasons why I recommend the chart with astro.com, because I don't know if maybe there's been updates to others or not, but or if you can do that with others. But another reason why I like astro.com is because you can blow up the map and get really down to almost street level, if not street level. Okay. So at least you're able to get in really close. I was actually able to do that with one of the lines when I lived out in Vegas. Wow, that was enlightening. And why I wound up in this area. I kept winding up around this area, basically over there by the airport. I kept winding up living over there, and I wound up staying for quite a while. And I'll admit, I do miss that line. And it's funny because it's not even my line. It's basically the line of my twin flame. So it's like, and it was, I mean, it literally was going right straight through my back door. It was like, wow. But anyway, it made a lot of sense with things. With that area, but as far as here is concerned, it makes a lot of sense with what I'm experiencing right now, with Mercury going retrograde, Uranus going into Gemini. I have a harmonious aspect, at least. I'd have to look at it again. I don't think it's my Neptune line, but I could be wrong. No, it's a harmonious aspect with my Neptune line, with the transit. I think it's a trine. Yeah, it's a trine with my AC. I also have my moon line going through here, And so yeah, with feeling things with the moon, even especially with this going on, and especially with it being Leo season and my rising sign, which is your AC line, that's basically your rising sign line. That's your ascending line, which is of course your rising sign. That is, I have a lot of harmonious, I have quite a few anyway, harmonious aspects going through this area affecting my rising sign right now. Also, especially since, well, we're not quite in Leo season yet, but we're almost there. But with Mercury transiting Leo right now, it makes a lot of sense. And in Leo, Mercury is hitting my 12th house right now too, with the spirituality. And also explain why my intuition is getting heightened like you would not believe, to the point where I'm getting headaches. So yeah, this is explaining a lot. So I have a lot going on. I mean, it's bad enough we have a lot going on up there. But with regards to my own birth chart, it's hitting the South, with it being in Aries, or things happening in Aries. Then of course Uranus with Gemini, and then Mercury and Leo, and it's all just hitting me like crazy. And then I got the intuition hit big time earlier, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, did that trigger big time. Definitely triggered some healing that needed to happen. And this transit with Leo, with Mercury happening about the same time as last year. Last year was pretty much the whole month of August. This time it's a little bit earlier, but it's going to be ending in August. Also Leo. So then it was Leo going into Virgo. This time it's, of course, yeah. And also, with looking at things, it also explained to me why my North Node is getting triggered, and why I am really feeling a need to take that trip to Wisconsin, where my grandparents are buried. And I'm looking, and my North Node is having a trine. I think it's either a trine or a sextile. I can't remember. Anyway, a positive aspect with my rising also. I think it's my rising sign. I don't remember. And it's funny because that aspect is running right straight through Richland Center, which is very close. Actually, my grandmother used to talk about Richland Center a lot, having to be going there to do shopping or whatever. I believe that's where the funeral home was, if I remember correctly. I believe that's where the funeral home was that we had to go to for the wake, and where things got started. I don't remember much about the funeral. I mean, I remember some things, don't get me wrong. But as far as the actual thing itself, there's more bits and pieces. I was like 17 at the time, so we're talking over 30 years ago when all this happened. So trying to remember a lot of this stuff, it's like, okay, So, yeah. And it's interesting because one of the things I was reading, at least with the Uranus line, a lot of things with the, it can also, aside from, of course, a lot of surprises, you have to really go with the flow with things and so forth. Nostalgia, that's been happening with me quite a bit, things like with Michigan or what have you. Memories coming back with things just hitting me all of a sudden out of nowhere. And then, of course, my Chiron line. This is basically, with that, and with it being an IC line, I think it is, it's IC is basically the below, things having to do with the subconscious and so forth. So things might get drummed up. But anyway, with what I was reading with as far as Uranus was concerned, a lot with surprises. You might also be more ecologically inclined, wanting to be involved with ecology. What am I considering? Organic farming. And I just kept being drawn in that area and everything. And my Uranus line runs pretty close to there. And then with my North Node, which is the path that you should be on or whatever, with where it's transiting, I'm just like, oh my gosh. With that positive aspect there. I'm really kind of blown away again by astrocartography. Never fails. It always gives me nice little surprises. So I am supposed to be here. I did take a look at all this before I left with trying to make decisions and so forth, but I was just so kerfluddled. I was thinking flabbergasted, this, that. No, I was kerfluddled with everything that was happening. Being in the middle of it all and so forth. And now I'm understanding it. I'm understanding it even that much more. Thinking about taking the night off again. I know it's 3 days, but I need to sort some things out. Now that I'm really starting to see things, starting to understand things a lot. It's like, yeah. And it also explains a dream that I had when I woke up the first time this morning. It was like I had to wake up. But that's with that dream interpretation, with looking at the different symbolism and so forth, that's starting to make a lot of sense now too. So I am supposed to be here right now. Go through a lot of healing and so forth. And of course, a lot of healing with things that happened last year at about this time. Throughout all of it. It makes a lot of sense. Wow. Yeah. I know. Yeah, like I said, it's, and why, like for instance, with seeking out, like the happy planner thing, I was seeking things out. I am seeking things out, and I know that. Yeah. But, I do have a headache. Throughout all of this. At least I got a shower, as you can see. Hi! I don't know. I think actually, Angie was telling me that there's a lake on the other side of the street. I was thinking about maybe go checking that out. Some healing water energy. Sounds really good right now, to be perfectly honest. Maybe I'll get a video. Haven't had any rain. It's been cloudy most of the day. Haven't had any rain. I think I'll take some insulin too before I do that and have myself a peanut butter sandwich. That sounds really, really good. And and with being all the way I was yesterday for whatever stupid, well, I'm not going to criticize myself, but I had decided to take my packaged hamburger that I had in the fridge and throw it up in the freezer. Why? I just want to end up taking it right back out, and I knew I was going to do that, and I don't know. Well, I seen that there was an expiration date on it. It showed the 15th. I'm like, ooh, I should throw this in the freezer. It's fine. But I'll get that going tonight. I'll probably cook it tonight. I was going to make pasties with it. It sounds really good, to tell you the truth. Something kind of light on my tummy with everything. And then I can have that for in the morning, and then I can head out back to work tomorrow. I'm just not feeling right with going out to work today. I think I have quite a few things to sort out. And that's one, I know it's one of the reasons why I'm also hem-hawing. With doing like farming full time or what have you, because it's not setting right with me either. And I know a part of it is because of my North Node. My North Node is in Sag. And I'm supposed to be experiencing I am drawn to it with having the experience in different cultures and so forth. And it also, with looking at my AC chart, it also helped with, because I have a positive aspect with my rising sign with Neptune. I think it's a trine, if I remember correctly. But basically, of course, Neptune, those deep, dark things and so forth. But also, one of the things that really grabbed my attention was feeling the need to be in service to people, which makes sense, especially with Uranus going into Gemini now, and my South Node being in Gemini. So I know that's being triggered as well. Wanting to, and that's the thing with your nodes, it's about, the North Node shows what path that you're on, your South Node shows, or what path that you should be on, that's your life path, your purpose, your life purpose, basically. But your South Node shows what you did, what you accomplished in your previous life. And we do have a tendency to want to lean on that quite a bit. Because it's something that's easy, it's something that's familiar, and a lot of times we don't want to go down the path of, the North Node, the path that we're supposed to be on, the things we're supposed to be learning and so forth with this lifetime, because it's difficult, it's hard. So, and I get that. With me, my South Node, Gemini, those partnerships with people. In this lifetime, I'm supposed to be learning about different cultures, but from more of a philosophical side. Basically being a loner. Which makes it even more difficult. Because, of course, I have the very strong tendency, especially with being a human, we're social creatures, And on the one hand, I want to be left alone. But yet, at the same point, I want to be sociable with people. It's like I want people in my life, but at the same point, I don't. I want people in my life to a certain extent, Maybe share energy, share stories or whatever, but but at the same point, I want my solitude so I can process everything. And that's what we're supposed to be doing that, but we're supposed to also be finding that balance between the two. So, like for instance, someone that I know, and I think he's doing a pretty darn good job at it, even though the first part of his life has been, basically his north node is in Aquarius, south node being Leo. So yeah, first part of his life he has really leaned on that Leo aspect, with being known, at least within his community. But and I feel like now he's starting to get into his Aquarius, which is really being of service. Okay, so finding that balance between the two, using the well-known aspect, the Leo aspect, and also being of service. I think I think they're starting to do that, and that's just another example. Okay, and I could name other examples also. Possum, for one. In her lifetime, she's supposed to be pursuing the aspect of Leo. Well, what is Leo? A cat. What is she? A cat. Put a little spin on it, okay? So, and I found that out with, another person I know also has the Leo and Aquarius aspect. But they're still, unfortunately, really trying to lean into their Leo aspect quite a bit. And unfortunately, this person, I don't have communication with them at all anymore. And I just can't deal with it. So, yeah. But they're not really into any of this anyway, so what would be the point of having the conversation? So anyway, yeah, like I said, there's and also with the Sag aspect, as far as my own is concerned, part of it is being the having the traveling foot, basically, moving around a bit, so we can learn how different people live and so forth, how people view the world, how people view this dimension, basically, is what it boils down to. So, yeah. Yeah, like I said, a lot's coming out. And I know a lot more needs to come out also. So, I'm in hopes that there can be some communication, so things can be figured out. So anyway, I just wanted to come up here and talk about all this. Yeah, I just want to hash things out, basically, with all different aspects of my life. Including some other aspects. And then I feel like I can make some better decisions. Yeah, it's selfish. But what isn't in life? Yeah. It's been a ride, and we're not out of it yet. Not gonna be for a while. So like I said, we still have Chiron at the end of the month. I believe it's July 30th, but we're in the pre-shadow. And we also have Leo new moon at about that same time. I think next week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, next week is the Leo full moon. We're going to be entering into Leo season here shortly. Oh yeah, by the way, happy anniversary to Possum and me. We've been here 5 months. She's sound asleep over there on her beddy. So anyway, yeah. This has just been one big headache. One thing after another. But my intuition, it does explain why my intuition is really getting heightened big time since I've been here. Explains a lot. So, anywho, I'm gonna go make myself that peanut butter sandwich and talk to y'all later. Love you guys. Love you.